Hey Spooky, say hi to the camera.
Hello. Are you doing an interview?
That's my thotty in LA.
Oh my god.
So Don Krez came from my cousin. I used to be a criminal back in the day, my past time, my past life. So I used to bring a lot of fake money and give it out to my cousins. I bought them all rings. So my cousin like grabbed my hand and kissed it. And he said, Don Krez. And from there I was like, that's my shit, Don Krez. And I was a fanatic of like The Godfather and all that bullshit. I grew up in Kendall. It's like a little area in Miami, I guess. Yeah. So it's a bunch of Hispanics, Cubans, majority Cubans. It's basically like the party scene. Like you grow up really fast in that area because we're drinking at a young age, we're partying, there's drugs everywhere, and the schools over there are crazy. I went to some school called G. Holmes Braddock. That shit was crazy. Back in high school, I used to throw house parties and like little like ranch parties, and I was actually making a lot of money from that. I was bringing in like 500 kids every party, and a ranch I did 1,000 kids. The helicopters came, and I was always like playing from my phone or, my laptop. Back in the day was like a Windows, and I used to DJ off virtual DJ. I always liked that. And then when I started working with like Simi and Puya and Fat Nick, I was tired. Like I always told myself, I wouldn't want to wait for somebody to come sign me or book me for this event or do this and that. So I saw interest in like Puya's followers and his plays. Looked into like the SoundCloud, what cities were fucking with him and all that. So I started picking out the cities, and since I had like a past on like booking shows and doing all that before, the whole Raider Clan movement and all that, I saw that if I could do it in Miami, I could do it in any other city. So I called the promoters, I called the venues, and I was like, yo, how much is it to rent it? At that time, none of the venues knew how big we really were. So like they would charge us like 1,000 for like 300 cap, and then we'll fly out there, we'll sell tickets ourselves online, we'll sell it out ourselves online, and we'll have like 300 kids in North Carolina, and then like 600 kids in Texas, all of Texas. So that's why I chose that. I realized the Miami music scene was really special when Raider Clan came out, right? And then I saw the whole movement and how the underground movement was going. But then I saw how much star power every character from Miami had. Like there was the Skis, there was the Puyas, there's Fat Nick, X, Lil Pump, Smoke Perp. And a crazy story about Smoke Perp. I used to book him to DJ my events back when I was in high school. He was legit. It was just different, It was like a movement I was waiting on for a long time, but I knew it was gonna happen. Everything was facing to Miami and Florida to be the next scene. And what was special about it is that we were all family. We were all together in rooms together. No cameras, no nothing. We were just there trying to plot our next move. Like, what do we do next? Like, we would sit down and talk to everybody and try to figure out like exactly what we should do and how we should seed our movements and just make it happen. Like, even if we had like $100 in our pockets, what can we do with that $100 to make our aesthetic bigger, or should we book a show or a studio session? That's that was what's special about it. We all wanted it so much. 88Rising is so huge, and people are probably thinking it's such a big working crew, is 100 people, when there's really like 20 of us, family that do everything. And how I met them and Brian, crazy story. Brian did that stick so that he could get Puya's attention, and it ends up being that Puya.
Thank you, man.
He just dropped his phone. And that Yeah, okay, Puya did that remix with that stick. So whatever. I saw him in Rolling Loud about 2 years ago, May, and I said what's up to him. He thought I was Mikey the Magician, but I really wasn't. um, and then I met Anders Management from 88 in South by Southwest. That's when I was handling Lil Pump and Smoke Perp. So like I went there, they were giving them an issue, but I just walked in. I'm like, Pump, go to the side. We'll talk to you now. Perp, we can't do this song, so we got to do the next one. And the way they reacted towards how I was talking to them, and like I cleared everything in 1 minute, made sure they understood. They if they didn't know who you were and shit like that, like it was like meeting somebody new. But I knew how to work with different types of people, so I had to tell them, look, listen, this is different. Like we gotta be professional. We were all new to the game still, but I guess Anders from 88Rising saw that and saw the potential I have to be something bigger in this industry, and like he took me in, told me, look, you could be this person. You just gotta, focus. And the rest is history. 2 years later, we're fucking here, and we're huge, and I'm DJing for Brian and Joji and Smoke Perp now. I'm gonna start off with Lil Peep. Fat Nick is the one that brought him into my life, because he had called me. He's like, yo, I got this artist from New York. We're gonna go on tour together, but he needs a spot to stay for two days. If you could take care of him in LA, I'm like, I got him for sure. He got there and he ended up living with me for like half a year. He was so sweet, bro. Like he not once would he ever like talk shit about anybody. Like any people would talk shit about him because of his persona, the way he was. But that was Lil Peep. That was Gus. Like that's the way he was. And like he was such a hard worker. He was always in the studio, and after the studios, he'll come back home and like we'll just listen to the music we recorded, like constantly over and over and over and over and over again. We'll just be listening to the music. He was great. He made me actually start caring about. He made me actually stop doing so much drugs for the fact that I saw his drug usage, and it wasn't because he wanted to do it. It was because this mentality he was in. Like I wanted to take care of him, so me taking care of myself showed him that if I could do it, he could do it. So it made me grow up. He made me grow up. And with X was basically, bro, this guy was like, he knew, like X, when I first met him, he knew he was gonna be huge. Like the way he would talk about himself in the future presence was exactly how he is right now. And rest in peace, all of them. But X was just a different energy. Like, he was insane. Like he was great. He knew his goal. He knew where to go. And if nobody fucked with him, he kept going. He did not give a fuck. Kept going, did what he did, and that's where he's at. And yeah, man, his death and Lil Peep's death affected me so hard because I saw them as my little brothers, not X, the guy you guys see all over social media, or Lil Peep, who you see all over social media. Like that wasn't my little brother. Like my little brothers, dumb. I lost my little brothers. I felt like I failed when that happened. So it changed me, and like if I have a chance to talk to you and ask you, are you happy? And how are you doing? Like, what can I do to help you if you're feeling some type of way? That's what it changed. Like, every time I meet somebody new or just see an old friend I haven't seen for a while, like, I say, yo, fuck the music shit. Like, are you happy? Like, because this world, this whole industry would make you become this person online, and you're really not that person. You're very unhappy sometimes. And people don't quite see that or even bother to ask you questions because they want to feed off you and they don't really care. So, yeah, I just always ask them, how are they? It's crazy. I saw X a week before he passed, and I saw Peep a week before he passed. And X at the airport, I saw him, and someone was screaming my name, and I'm like, who the fuck is screaming my name? And then it turns out to be X, and he's just, We apologize to each other. You know, the industry takes us two different paths. So things were said, you know, industry should. But we haven't seen each other for like a year, so when we saw each other, it was like nothing but love. Like a big hug, like, yo, man, I fucking miss you. Like, good shit, yo, you made me proud. Like, you did it. And then, like, we apologized to each other and, like, you know, just told each other exactly what we meant to each other and, like, you know. And after Pete passed, I actually did get to ask X if he was happy. And he said he was. He's like, I'm truly happy with what I am. I'm like, okay. That's all that matters. Be happy. And yeah, Lil Peep, I was with him a week before too, cause me and Rich Brian had a show the same day that Peep had a show in Washington, and it ended up being that Peep was a big fan of Brian, so like I don't know where I just bought a ticket, and I surprised him. I was in the in the audience, and he realized it was me. He was like, "What the fuck, Krez?" He's like, bro, get on stage right now. So that was pretty beautiful. Yeah, I got to talk to him. He told me a couple stuff that I should have asked him, and like I could have said some stuff, maybe to change stuff. But like, you know, the world, sometimes shit is meant to be. You know, the energy never dies. So I love y'all. I miss y'all.